Hello, you are listening to a special episode of Primordial Harmony, Ignacio's Interlude Part 1 of... Who knows, there might be more parts. Tonight I'm joined by one of my good friends, Justin.
Hey, I'm Justin. I play Zacharyl Vitalis in the main party, the Excavators, but also the mysterious man of fire, Ignacio.
So we will return to Kythorn 13, the morning that Gordon's task force were to set out, and also the same morning that the excavators sort of tillied around Fourth Stride looking for a boat and then set off southbound themselves. And as such, oh, that's Whitaker. I didn't mean to do that one. Too dark. I meant Defiance Bay. Ignacio wakes up from a creepy dream, I guess. There we go. So, Ignacio might still be asleep as the sun starts to creep over and fill his quarters with some natural light. Unless shuttered up, what do his quarters look like?
They are shuttered up. He prefers to live in a darker, kind of like resembles like a shady club. There's these red curtains that hang and block most of the sunlight, but it does manage to crack through. He's got a simple room, just a bed and a large chair that he sits in at night as he looks out the windows, dreaming of someone long gone. He spends most of his time here, resting, going over different events and how to become more powerful himself. His daily ritual is... as he's waking up, he reaches over onto his nightstand and grabs a small wooden pipe and begins packing some herb into it.
As he starts packing that herb, and just before he lights it, his senses sort of sharpen quickly, and involuntarily, this track is so loud. Involuntarily, he receives a sending. And he recognizes his sending from a woman named Lizzie. You're invited to return to the warmth of the internal flame. Rendezvous near the pumpkin field. Should you not, Ignacio, you scorn me and Vanifer. And this is a name that he's heard only a couple of times. But he knows that this individual is high up, if not the leader of the Cult of Fire.
Lizzie. My only wish is that it would be a further journey, for I would travel to the end of Earth to see you.
You don't get a sending back, but you can almost feel a bit of laughter.
All right, well, he'll finish packing the pipe and just shoot a little bit of fire out of his hand to light it. He'll reach over and grab his long burgundy duster that he puts on, and kind of pats his shoulders and casts Mage Armor.
Oh, it's so good. Burgundy duster.
He
I have to remind myself what duster looks like.
He takes out, just kind of pulls the necklace out from underneath his shirt and rubs it a little and looks at it, stuffs it back in.
So he's not wearing the necklace, it's in his pocket?
No, it's around his neck. He just stuffs it back into the shirt.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Alright. So, you leave the hovel.
Before he leaves, he pulls out the drawer on the nightstand and grabs a bottle of the fire whiskey from the party before.
Ah.
And then he leaves.
He grabs the whole bottle?
Yeah, I'm taking the bottle with me.
Ah, gotcha.
I get a sending in the morning.
So, as you're walking through the streets, making your way out toward the farmland, you know where the pumpkin field is. Just another field of squash. You see a young boy. Looks like he's got a bag full of vegetables, and he's just kind of jogging from one direction to the other.
I will begin approaching him.
He sees you, and he kind of slows to a stop and looks up, and he says, "Can I help you, mister?"
Sure, boy. I'm looking for... I'm supposed to be meeting a friend here. You haven't seen a beautiful woman around here,
this is before you leave the city.
Oh, okay. You haven't seen any very beautiful, very cold-hearted elves, have you?
He says, well, I saw...
There'd also be a rather large man with them, a cat person.
He says, well, I saw the creepy lady at the temple district.
Oh, good, she's still there, then.
Well, I saw her leave I saw her leave the small church next to the Church of Lathander.
No, thank you very much, boy. Say, looks like you have a good crop this year.
I'm just taking these from market.
Oh, well, yeah. This should help you get the market, and I'll flick him this over.
Gee, thanks, mister.
Make sure you get all your work done now.
He nods. I will. And he starts walking away.
Oh, kid, you never saw me.
Okay. Kind of wiggles his... He kind of screws up his expression and then starts heading off.
He'll just kind of like turn and take a... Because he's not sure of what's going to happen today, he kind of takes one last look towards the temple district. And then turns and continues on.
Alright. So yeah, you exit and it's on the northern side of the city, so you have to kind of go around abouts. And second here. So you start heading to this pumpkin field. The way isn't too unfamiliar to you, especially since it's summer and the squash are easily identifiable. You see in this field on the edge near the small dirt road, you see a small shed. And a little bit of smoke starts coming out of a small stovepipe chimney on the side.
I'm gonna point at the shed. And as there is a chimney, it does have a means of getting in there. I will say, Lizzie, is that you?
Very good, Ignacio. Come on in, won't you?
I walk up and open the door, or look around, and I open the door just a crack and squeeze in.
You see before you, Lizzie. She is in your opinion, well, maybe your opinion, probably your opinion, beautiful woman. Barrel-chested, but wearing robes. Despite that, they configure to her form nicely. She has her arms crossed, and next to her is a man with dark armor and a sword on his belt and a shield on his back.
Threesome, is it?
She chuckles and, how do I cue it up? She chuckles and she slowly approaches you. And it gets relatively close to you, maybe like 6 inches away. And she lifts her hand and she says, Ignacio. And she strokes your jaw with her knuckle. How are you, my loyal candle? I apologize for the accusatory sending, but I knew it would get your attention. She cups your cheeks for a moment and then lets her hands fall to her sides.
I've been good. Just out there spreading the word. Showing the world what I can do.
Very good. I'm sure you've heard about the absolutely disgraceful failure of Elazar and Lycia. But at the very least, she bolstered our numbers. If Elazar had been smarter, he wouldn't be dead, and our easy access to fire elementals would still be in our hands.
Yes, I did hear rumblings of such a thing.
Now, I've received word that... And I've seen you walking through town with a group of robust individuals. Furthermore, you're working against the Cult of Air. This is a good thing, but it is time you left our outpost in Forstride. We have no more use of this place. I shall now take you to our stronghold, our temple to the eternal flame.
I finally get to meet the great Yennefer. Yennefer. Whatever her name is.
Don't let her hear you say that. It is Vanifer.
Well, I'm sure Yennefer is quite cozy in her... Where even is the stronghold?
She smiles, and she says, well, you're going to find out. Come with me, won't you?
I would love to, but,
She raises her eyebrow.
I feel like, the path I'm on could lead to greater things for the immortal flame.
Oh?
I've heard some rumors floating around these places. Would appear that some of the other cults are on the move, making plans.
Oh, I assure you we're making plans ourselves.
Yes, but perhaps, say, if some of those other cults just disappeared. Wouldn't Yennefer be more than pleased to know that her rivals and whatever she's playing at are gone?
Roll a persuasion check. Ignacio. Oh wait, I have to make sure that the video sees that. Yep. Ignacio, it is not your decision to make a call such as this. Come now. I have summoned you in the morning so that our day of travel will be in the cooler climes.
Oh, but I came all this way with this delicious drink, and I pulled the bottle up.
Ooh, okay.
Are you sure you don't want to have a couple of drinks? Regale me with the stories of your travels? Tell me who the fuck this guy is?
You actually see that guy. He looks at the bottle, and then he sort of raises his shoulders a bit, and then you see him sort of lift his hand a bit, and then she gives him a stern look, and he drops back to hands at his sides. She says, "This is one of our soldiers, Ignacio. One of our numbers. One of our warriors."
Doesn't make much sense for a man toting the immortal flame to wear so much heavy armor. You know what happens to heavy armor, don't you?
Ignacio, there's many things you don't know about our operations yet. For instance, she walks over to the man. She says to him, "Stand still for me, darling." And you see him kind of go wide-eyed a bit, and she gestures to you, "Ignacio, come over here."
Okay, I walk over.
The gentleman in question is actually just a taste shorter than you. She takes his shoulder, makes him bend a little bit, and she gestures for you to watch. And she starts pulling at the half plate, which is what this is. And you notice that the skin, or what's left of it, starts to come off, and you hear him whimper slightly in pain. Our soldiers are quite devoted, Ignacio.
You have the metal burned onto him?
The special ritual, he says.
So you think that he is no longer susceptible to flame?
He's quite resistant, aren't you? And he nods and he says, "Yes, ma'am." And
Well,
then
if
she looks at you and she says, why don't you throw a mote of flame at him?"
Well, allow me to show you what my travels have helped me with my magic.
She furrows her brow and she says, "Ignacio, you are not a...
I will touch him I'll grab him by the neck and cast Produce Flame, and
Okay. I thought you were about to cast Fireball. Ooh, radical.
Yep.
Cast you spell... Oh, I love this. Okay. Okay. His eyes go wide. And he yelps. "Ah! Mistress! Mistress!" And she says, "That's enough."
You see, Lizzie, by devoting myself to the magic I have, and bathing myself in the immortal flame, puny little resistances no longer affect me.
She sort of narrows her eyes at you. And she says, "You are far, far more useful than I had anticipated yet." She looks at the bottle. And she says, "Do you have glasses with you?"
No, I'll just drink it right out of the bottle.
That won't do. Give me a moment. And you see her fumble a little bit with a pouch at her side, and she produces this round crystal just about the size of her thumb. and she makes a few gestures of the arcane, and she conjures up 3 small glass shot glasses. Pour one for him for what the slight tinge you've caused him. Pour one for me because I'm somewhat annoyed, and pour one for you for impressing me.
It'll be my pleasure. You see, fighting these other cultists have given me kind of a thrill. I'm not sure I'm ready to give that up. And besides, those folks that you've seen me traveling with, I think could be very useful to our cause.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage. You make good points, Ignacio. You make good points. Well then. She sort of looks at the whiskey in her glass and she gives it a swirl, and the aroma sort of wafts out. The warrior that you'd burned already quaffed his and sort of backs away from you a little bit, and you see some fear in his eyes. And she says, "Tell you what, Ignacio. I have enough leeway to spend some more time in Fourth Stride." She looks at you and she says, "I'm not entirely opposed to your proposition. However, it's not my call to make. I'll need you to give me some time before I can let you go."
Well, I hope you never let me go, but
She reaches out again and she fishes the ruby out from your shirt, and she rolls it in her thumb and forefinger, and she says, "Has this been useful to you?"
a reminder of you when you're not around.
She gives a coy smile and shakes her head. "Well, wait outside for a few moments."
Oh, and also, might want to tell your friend that I don't know what ritual you're using to make them resistant to fire, but I've done that to myself as well.
She just nods, and she kind of gestures with her fingers, the shoe kind of gesture, if you'll excuse
And I
me.
have a bead on even more power. So, just let your friend know that.
Of course.
Alright, I walk outside.
So as you wait outside for a couple of minutes, and you hear what sounds like flames from within, and the smoke billows a little bit, and you see another child. As you look back at the road, walking toward you. Looks like he's walking from a field to town. He's got a bushel of corn cobs in a sack around his shoulder, like sashed around his shoulder.
All right, I'm just gonna walk, try to quietly walk away from the hut so no one can hear me leaving.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna approach the kid. Like, hey kid,
Yes?
you're in the wrong part of town. Listen,
No,
I
not.
need you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Can you get a message to, um...
Wait. It's the party.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think of her name.
Oh. Snow or Jadicus or...
Do you know the spooky, ice-cold snowflake cleric that worships the strange god next to Lathander?
He kind of shudders a bit. You mean that creepy lady?
Uh-huh, yes.
I've never really, gone up to her or anything.
I need you to go to her with a message.
His eyes kind of widen, and he starts shaking his head.
I'll give you gold. That's way more than you'll get for this corn.
Oh, okay.
Alright, listen to me clearly. You need to go tell her, or the big fat man that's probably with her, it's probably easier to approach him, that Ignacio, that's me, is going to be gone for a couple of days on a special mission from a man named Gordon. They'll understand. Tell them I'll meet them on their next stop. Roll it.
Okay.
Now here, take this gold coin, buy yourself some candy. Enjoy.
What kind of mission did Gordon give you? He looks curious now.
It's very top secret. I'm after some very bad people. I believe one of them's in that hut. You need to leave.
Oh, okay. And he starts hoofing it towards town. And he goes down the road, and you see him the road sort of slopes up just a bit because there's a very, very gentle grade as you approach the wall of Forstride. And then you see him kind of take a left, and then he starts heading toward the gate, and he sort of disappears in that, he disappears in the details. And some more time passes. And then a bit more time passes. And then you hear in your head, and you recognize this as a message as opposed to sending. Ignacio, come on in, please.
All right, I'll go. I'll go back in.
She approaches you, and she lays her hand on your cheek. And she looks in your eyes, and she says, "Now I went to bat for you there. I hope you understand." And you see on her other arm, as she sort of holds it to her sides, you see there is what looks like a fresh burn. You will report back here the next time I call you. And we best see results. Do you understand?
Lizzie, well, can I speak to you without this coward in here?
She looks at him, gestures her head, and he vacates the room immediately. And then she gently kind of pushes you to the side, like away from the door frame. And she just looks outside. And even without seeing her eyes, you can feel the intensity of her gaze. And then a very curt nod, and she closes the door. You may speak freely.
What the fuck is that?
What is what?
Your arm.
Oh, don't worry about this.
Don't worry about it. Why? Why would this happen? Why would anyone Who hurt? Did he do this?
No. No. It was our master, Vanifer.
She just burns you for asking questions?
I have slightly overstepped my bounds. I trust, or you must trust that it is not a detriment to myself.
No, I feel like she's overstepping her bounds.
Her expression turns to a bit of anger, and she says, "You will not speak that way. If you value your life, you will not speak that way."
Lizzie, why aren't you running the show? Why are you not in charge? You've got the brain, the looks, the power.
It is because Imix didn't choose me. And I assure you, Ignacio, that is a responsibility that is not to be taken lightly.
What if I know a way? I don't really know it, but what if I know a way to acquire the power to burn even a god?
She actually make a charisma check. No, just straight charisma, no advantage. She narrows her eyes again, and she says, "Then you best contribute it to the ends of the eternal flame."
I think I don't have a problem with that. However,
Good.
I don't think I can get over this lightly.
She puts both hands on your cheek, and she does that thing where she sort of strokes like the top, like the what the fuck do you call them? The puffier parts of your cheeks. You know, your dimples. Yeah, let's go with that. No, not dimples. You know what I'm talking about. Cheekbones.
I know. Yeah.
And she says, "Ignacio, I promise you, I'll be just fine. And the less you worry of it, the better. Alright?"
Oh, you shouldn't be getting hurt on my part.
Small price to pay for what amazing results you'll bring to bear.
Alright, well, hopefully next time, you won't bring your new boyfriend with you.
She smiles softly, shakes her head a bit. Did you say something after boyfriend? Because I think you might have cut off.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
By the way, he's totally afraid of me. You might want to work on his discipline.
I believe I'll have to inform our soldiers that our gifts are not as... No, Mike's having trouble finding a word. Invulnerable as we might have thought.
Well, from what I've heard of those other assholes that are gallivanting around, they've been making quick work of some of the other cultists.
She narrows her eyes. Yes. Yes, they have. I assure you, they will not meet. Or she says, I assure you they will be in for more than they can handle with us the next time they cross our paths.
Well, is there anything you need me to do?
She looks down at her arm, and she gets close and she says, "Would you mind visiting an apothecary for me and bring me a salve?"
I can do that, yeah.
Need to make sure that this doesn't get infected, otherwise the heat is nothing I can't handle, but if I lose my arm, I am less of an asset to the eternal flame. You understand?
I do.
I'll be waiting at our old, and then she smiles, watering hole. You know how to get there.
Aye. I'm gonna walk outside, and I'm gonna do that thing where you kind of try to intimidate the guy,
Like, when you puff out your chest at him,
and then, bring my hands up a little bit.
and he kind of flinches a little bit, and as soon as after you walk like maybe 10 feet away from him, suddenly you hear the door close, and you realize that, or if you've been watching him, you see him just go into that shack super quick.
All it would take would be one fireball. Yeah. And just walk down the road.
So it takes some time to get what you need for Lizzie, and you eventually deliver it to her at a small hole-in-the-wall tavern in the Musical Tavern Row in Forest Stride, and it's late in the day, but you manage to get your supplies together and what you need, and just as you... I'm sort of narrating, but everything is kind of done. So you leave Forest Stride, and just as you leave Forest Stride, you see a group of way shields come in, and they notice you, and they say, "Hey, where are you going?"
Oh, hey brothers, what's going on?
Oh, I don't remember what voice I gave him. Oh, I just got back from Rollid. Had a bit of a scrap. You look familiar. Are you one of Gordon's new special task force guys?
Yep, Special Task Force Wayshield guy. Yep, that's me.
Well, he didn't really come up with a... At least we're not aware of a title. Anyway, we saw some of your buddies. They crossed paths earlier. We warned them about goblins. So if you're going that way, you should be aware too.
Oh, thank you.
They're a little bit more aggressive these days.
You know, the good thing about goblins is they're much the same as anything else, my good friend. And do you know what that is?
No, pray tell.
I gotta lean in real close. Everything burns.
Kind of jerks away from you. Well, take it easy with your fire, Chief.
Just like this whiskey. And I take a shot.
Don't want to... And he sees you, gulp it down. Burn the forest down.
Well, wouldn't that solve the goblin problem forever?
Gordon had a thing about that. If we were to burn down the forest, they'd run, and then they'd have nowhere to shack up at.
Yeah, they'd be like sitting ducks. Just out in the fields. You could easily pick them up. I suppose then you piss off all the druids around here because you burn down the forest.
That was the other thing he said, too, yeah. Anyway, have a good one. And he pats your back, and then they start heading into the city proper.
Hey, have a drink. I'm me, and I flick him a gold.
Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly.
Well, we are brothers, after all.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Wait, don't tell me. Good seeing you, Ignacio.
As close as Ignacio.
Ignacio.
Think of like ignition and osseo.
You got it. And he turns to his other allies and he flips the gold, and all of them sort of turn around and they give you a very kind nod of appreciation, and they start heading into the town proper.
I do that like exaggerated hand twist and bow to them.
Hey! And
God, all these wheat shields are morons.
and you start making your way down the Rollforth Road, and somewhat out of sync with the rest of the party, but you eventually meet up with them in the morning of Kythorn 15. And that is where we will end Interlude.
Yay.
So thanks for watching, Joy.
Bye, Joy.
Bye, Joy. Do 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 do.